Well, this is Baruch, and as we run through the ninth Seder here at the Katikun Elevator Kollel, it's time for the ultimate connection with God. This is Jewish mystical meditation. Now, up to this point, there's nothing really particularly mystical that we've seen, except that he's starting to talk about, well, now he's starting to talk about the main theme over here is gaining control over our emotional ego, or he means to say the thoughts that are going through our minds. And he said several times, many times, that learning how to watch your thoughts is really important. Now, the only thing I want to add is I've been trying this, and if some people have, I've been some of the subscribers to the shear have helped me to get. Hopefully, that I'm getting playlists going together because there's a lot of interest in what Rabbi Mimran has to say, and he is really actually has a potential to be a great man, and he's all over the world just doing all kinds of things, and he's running around. But this hymn, Yosef Chaim Mimran. Now, let's go over here to where we were the last time. Last time was talking about the light of consciousness. That is that as you were involved in your emotions so much and listening to the thing going back and forth within your head and the accusations that come about, all of this business is inside of you. But how in the world do you ever get out of it? And he says that there is a light which is called consciousness. That consciousness can watch your thoughts. And immediately when you do that, you move up to a different level. What's the level? What's the important part? So we're going to get to that. So we're getting into it more. But the most important part is that Hashem, God Himself, is behind all of your life. You didn't create yourself. And when it's time for you to leave the world, it won't be up to you. So let's see how the world is moving around you because the same thing is happening to absolutely everyone else in the world, everything else in the world. We have one thing that we can do that the rest of the world cannot do, that is the physical world. Human beings have choice. And so we can learn to apply this idea and these ideas from Rabbi Mimran. And I think one of the things that we want them to know is that from studying Kabbalah more deeply, is that the process of achieving closeness to Hashem is not a one deal, one time shot. It's something that you work on and you work on and you work on all the time. And the problems in your life aren't going to go away. So last time he says you have to learn to face him, and I just wanted to say the little blurb that he said last time. Let's see if I can get it on the screen. What can free us is our effort to recognize the truth, but you can't recognize the truth if you're very emotionally involved in it, and bring that truth into our own experience. Now that's a process. We have to learn how to do that. So now he wants to give us some hints. This is part 7. It says awareness turns pain into joy. The Vekas means clinging to God. And we're talking about this eternity, the God of eternity, the eternal God, is the final and most important goal of all of creation and the purpose of why man was created. In Kabbalah, this is called a yichud, combining opposites, bringing light into darkness. It's the wedding of the male and female forces of the world, and it is something that all of us can achieve. We cannot actually fight the emotional ego, which, as we have explained, is powered by the Yetzer Hara. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with the Yetzer Hara, the basic principle in Judaism is that there is a tendency or an inclination within us to be selfish, just take care of our bodies and not care about anything else. This is called the Yetzer Hara. There's also Yetzer Tov, which brings us into the godly side. That's a good condition. Just as we cannot fight darkness because there is no real substance to it, there's really nothing to fight. Trying to fight the emotional ego will only create inner conflict, which would lead to further pain. It's enough just to watch it. Watching the emotional ego implies accepting it, allowing it to be part of what it is at that moment. I said it wrong. Allowing it to be part of what is at that moment, How can the simple act of watching the emotional ego put an end to its destructive influence? Now, when you begin to separate yourself and your identity, you separate them from the emotional ego. And because the observer, the emotional ego, will continue to operate for a while, for it already has a certain momentum, like a spinning wheel that will keep turning on its own for some time, even when it is no longer being propelled by an outside force. Similarly, although you are no longer energizing the emotional ego by identifying with it, it will still try to trick you into identifying it with it again. But like that spinning wheel that continues to turn, it will eventually stop. Now, my thinking about this is that this is this requires effort because it will eventually stop, but that doesn't mean it won't start again. So that means that your effort has to be back in charge again. So he said, we cannot actually fight the emotional ego. This is the line which Rabbi Mimran is saying, which is powered by the Yetzer Hara, just as we cannot fight darkness. This is Baruch Fleischman, and this has been a short shir by Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran. Of course, it's read here at the Tikkun Elevator Kol, and it's our pleasure to present this. Thank you for listening.